My friend and I went walking the night we almost died. The stars were gray, the air was cold, the sky forebode of things untold. We chattered in the shattered night of subjects dim, without the light to guide us into woeful gloom. Gleam and glimmer from a star cannot reach us where we are, we said with twisted melancholy, contemplating gleefully our fate, and to our folly we did light upon a sprite or two who spooked us in the dark. My friend and I went walking, and I went by his side, walking through the graveyard the night we almost died. We were alone with cold old stone, our only consolation in a solitary nation reserved for lonely dead, who secretly do dread the steps of mortal man along his walks, or so we told ourselves to keep our stocks of courage high. 9:12 it was when fog did set, and with my friend I had some bet about a bit of conversation we were making from a tangled proposition, when a snap, a tap, a savage crack of bone or blade, I know not what, but knew but then that only running would amend the constitutional writ of fear that held my friend and I so near, the dreadful sound emerging, then bold approaching, us encroaching, came a fiend on tempest blowing, from him flowing oaths incontinent to human ears. Next he rent a sigh of passion, the slow ferment of immodest ration of the spirit from the bottle in his hand, which label read, tequila. My friend and I went walking in a careless stride, and there we met a drunkard the night we almost died. We were introduced as Ted and Larry, which was an untruth, but he was wary anyway and called us Bill and Sheila. Between long pulls of hard tequila, he'd decided who we were and why. Have you been up? He pointed low, yonder high place for to show, and there upon the rising hill, a sight to make the nervous trill and sound the knell, or put the spell on we who saw it from below. It was a massive mausoleum, a sturdy mason-built museum with a Solomonic portico. And for those who know of Persian things, it brought to our minds the faces of kings who wrought in ancient times 7 wonders of the world. Double doors of ancient iron, brass contrasting with the iron fashioned by a necromancer or a similar shrewd master. Have you ever scaled that? Challenged our man, crushing his bottle like a can upon a headstone bright with gore from his hands that weren't cut before he did them in with such defiance. Ted and Larry shook their heads. Sheila and Harry, the drunkard said with superior attention, now is the time. This night is the day for our climb. We will rise above all, and if we don't fall, we'll see in the lights of the city's gridiron a blaze brighter than the philosopher's stone. My friend was up before me, and when I slipped not once but twice, I thought the drunkard would ignore me, but he kindly proffered me his busted hand, and I did take his offer to me thankfully. His eyes were bloodshot as the body blaring lights below, and glow incestual, non-terrestrial, and freakish more than any fiend upon a foggy moor. His lights lit scars into my soul, pouring there a smoking hole that chilled as drying ice into my brackish bones. Said the man, one more drink and you are damned. Come sit with me, you friendly devils. Speak to me of midnight revels. Under this moon the maiden walks the road beneath the breath of we who wait in watchful wonder. Woeful did we join him sitting, deliriously swearing, spitting. The pungent odor that was his ardor gave a glamour to the stammer of his tumbling, trembling words that fell in tipsy trailings from his tawny lips. He hung himself upon our frames, fumbled about to find our names, and after all those possible were exhausted, got philosophical until he lost it, passing away upon a wave of craved intoxication. My friend and I sat up there, washed in the midnight tide. Below we spied Ophelia the night we almost died. In the cold wind whipping, she came a-tripping along a lane of mud that, rippling, split a jagged line into our view. Her silhouette was thin and handsome, either in or out of fashion, depending on your view of the worthiness of wasted waists or gothic-girdled hips. A gangly girl, a runaway pearl from some necklace dropped to land a heap in the graveyard keep. Oh, joy of life, she wailed with pleasure. Oh, midnight leisure that calls me hither, singing ditties to the god of love. Oh, moon above, a swooning dove I am, I flit about your epicenter. If I was troubled when I had met her, imagine me just moments later when the chanting goddess bent to drink the moon out of a puddle, and in her wild and fiery muddle, drowned herself in ecstasy, gurgling a bit in a tardy show of willingness to last. That moment past, my friend and I studied careful where she lie. Perhaps we would be up there still, accused by police of the kill, had not the drunkard roused himself with wealth of snore.